Why? Why is it doing that? This is retarded, man. Yo, can you hear me? Yo, turn off slow mo. Okay. 1 sec. How do I do that? So fucking complicated. Hold on. It's been a very long time since I've done this. Yeah, I'm just looking. Doesn't have it in the settings, so it might have to bear with me. We'll get there, boys and girls. I think it was once it was in the stream settings. I'm not sure if you can change it afterwards. Can you? Ah, there we go. Cool. Save. Done. All right, that should be good. How's that? Someone just spam the chat and see if you can do it. Yo. There we go. Cool. Just wait for a few more people to get in. Nice. It's working. It's moving nicely. We can all see it. That's great. This is basically just going to be like a test stream, just to make sure I've got everything up and running, everything's working, everything's nice. And once the boys at Watt make this chart a lot bigger, so it looks nicer on the screen, if I can get it down to here, that'd be cool. And I can get rid of all the order book and that bollocks, because I don't look at that. Do we get the link? Oh, yeah. Nice one. Full screen mode. Yeah, that'd be good. It's nice though. It's very clean. I really like it. I've changed some of the colors, but I think it's pretty tasty. It's nice and simple. It's just clean. We'll get into it. Just give it another 5 minutes. I don't think I'm going to be long on this anyway. Probably like 45 minutes or something, because I'm not sure there's going to be a ton of people, but at least kind of exercises the muscle of doing this and getting all of the lighting, the cameras set up, all the software and everything. So all good. But we'll build. We'll build slowly, but we'll build. FTX colors. I never used them actually. I wasn't around when they were in their heyday. Although I do have a DM from Sam asking me to join them, I believe, or a tweet or something, which was kind of weird, like going away from crypto and then seeing him in the news everywhere and like hearing him on Joe Rogan. It was pretty interesting. It's crazy. Thanks. Will there be an NBA review? Nah, I don't watch NBA. I've tried to watch it, but can never get into it. Bruno, are we still going to see some resistance here? What are your thoughts? Just joined. Yeah, I'm gonna do a top-down analysis of Bitcoin. I'm gonna do a top-down analysis of Ethereum, and then anything else that you guys kind of want to see, then I will talk about that as well. But I'm gonna keep it pretty clean, pretty simple, and give my ideas. And then I'll show you how I do my process of charting as well. We're going to 69K stream in 5 minutes. Yo, XO sent some people. Nice. Hello, people. What prop is it? Okay, so it's a new-ish DEX called Watt Exchange. I'm going to be trading crypto on there going forward. There's going to be a lovely airdrop next year, early next year, I believe. And Wolf can correct me if I'm wrong there in the chat. But it's going to be similar to the Hyperliquid one. So we want to get as many people on there as possible, start farming, and then you could get a really nice airdrop next year, particularly if you missed Hyperliquid like me. So, all right, let's just get into it because there's people joining now. We're going to do a top-down analysis from the daily time frame on Bitcoin, and then a top-down analysis from the daily time frame on Ethereum as well, and I'll give you my thoughts. But everyone should be kind of familiar with the Bitcoin chart. Here it is at the moment, and I'm just going to mark out some of my key areas, which I think we should all be paying attention to. So obviously we had this high up here from earlier in January, 110,000-ish. And at this low here, we have what I called a decision point. So essentially a decision point is where you see a cluster of orders in the supply and demand world where buyers and sellers are kind of battling it out, and then you get a push to the upside. So you can say the origin of the buying took place at this level, and I've marked the extreme of it, but the whole level was there. The buying took place at this level to come and push up and take out the high, or kind of test the high. So I like to mark the extreme of it, which I'll go into afterwards. But if we look at the absolute extreme of the level, what has happened is prices come down and bounced off of it almost exactly to the dollar. There we go. That looks a bit cleaner now, doesn't it? So it's faked it. It can't push down. Everyone was getting bearish at this point. It was quite funny. It always happens. And then it's obviously bounced. Now, we have first trouble area. There's this resistance locally. And just bear with me while I try to find the tools because I haven't set them up yet. I want my rate. Oh, it's down here somewhere, isn't it? Fuck it. I'll just do this. So we have this resistance like that. Now, I mark this out as a range. So we have a retrace down into the support, but you can call this a local bearish trend. It comes down and then puts in this low here. Oops. And that is my range defined once the high of the range has been tested again. So I put videos up on my YouTube channel about this if you're interested in the concept a little bit more. But it's kind of mapping out very nicely. I did put up a tweet on Twitter, a post on X about this. But essentially what's happened is it bounces up, pushes higher, meets this resistance up here, which I'm not too interested in at this point. And now it's dropped back down into the range. And the kind of thing I would expect, and this is the pattern that I trade all the time, is something like that. I do expect some downside. So we're currently at this point here. So what I'm expecting now is the low of the range to get tested. It's pushed back into the range. And from the information we get from the candles here really cleanly is everyone was getting supercharged at this point, and it was looking nice up until it wicked back down. So what we're hearing from the market is that it can't push up higher, and it's fallen back down within this range. And then we have a bearish candle, which is taking out all of the lows of these bodies. That is our signal from the market that it wants to go lower. Again, the same thing. I mean, obviously the day hasn't closed yet and we need to go to lower time frames, but I still expect, and if I can get a nice arrow kind of thing, no, okay, I'll just draw it, fuck it. I expect price to essentially, come down to the range low, push back up somehow, and just show us that it can't push up higher, similar to this. And then once it breaks this range low, that's when I think we're going down to the next level of support, which is down here, as you can see. And I'm going to just mark the extreme of it again, but the whole level is here. Again, it's essentially taken out the resistance in a very, very similar way that this is a decision point, this is a decision point, or an origin level to come take out this resistance. And this resistance is key because this is where the selling took place, as you can see. I'll just zoom out a little bit. This is where the selling took place, pushes up, wicks, and then drops. The selling took place here to come and take out this support. Okay, we're just reading the story of the price action. It's just telling us what it's doing. At this point, it can't push high, it drops back down. But at this point down here, 1, 2, 3 bottoms, it can't push lower and then pushes up. It takes out all of the resistance along the way. And now, in my opinion, this is retracing down to a key support level, which will be this one, to then push higher. So it will probably look something like this. And then that's my kind of overall opinion on what's happening on Bitcoin over the next month or two. It really depends how slowly it plays out. It plays out slowly these days, and it's obviously in the middle of summer as well. But my particular style of trading, I trade this pattern all the time. Essentially, you have a trend up, and then you have a nice continuation level here. But really, in a market like Bitcoin, where it takes so much money to move, it's not going to just rip up straight away. And I think every time it's taken out the all-time high, it's done it in a move like this. It's kind of pushed up really quickly, and then it kind of retraces down to support, and then it does exactly the same again when people get bearish at these levels. So I think it's even going to test this resistance, push back up to put a lower high in. So test the support, sorry, put a lower high in, and then drop down. And this is exactly where I'm going to be looking to go long from. And then I think we're going to see a similar type of trends like this, a hard push up from there up to like 120K or something. But I believe it's going to come down here on this time frame. I think this is a really clean time frame. And the fact that it's doing this pattern, which is essentially what I trade nonstop, I see this all the time on M1, on GBP USD, which is what I trade day in and day out as my bread and butter. I think it's just going to break this at some point. It may not break it first time, and I think it may well put in a lower high, before it comes down and tests this level. But if you're looking at 92K around this level for buying, I think you're going to be rewarded. But you know, we'll see in time. So if we just jump down to H12 to get a few more candles, and again, this is looking really clean. If you've got the middle of the range, which kind of signifies where price is thinking, you can see drops down, pushes up, farts around in the middle, can't push to the upside, gets rejected. It's now coming to the bottom part of the range. So I do expect it's probably going to put some price action in sideways before dropping down here. And really, this is kind of my preferred time frame on Bitcoin at the moment. H4, again, if I just remove this and we'll have a bit more local price action so you can see. You've got this big low, which is now getting tested. And it will probably end up retracing. And if it does it first time, I'd be amazed because it's not a huge amount of volume in the market. But again, it's similar concept. I just draw little ranges all over the place in important areas, and you can see how it's fractal. So in the same way that you've got this range here, this bigger range, it pushes up and then falls back into it. This little cluster here is what I think is a like little snapshot for what we can expect on the daily time frame. So obviously this is H4 and it's not exactly the same, but we have the drop and it's kind of sitting at this support level here as it is on the daily time frame. And when you've got a range sitting at the extreme of another range, it's a really nice level to look for trades in. But again, you've kind of got the cluster, it pushes up, gets rejected, and then starts dropping down. That's what I'm expecting to see on the daily time frame as well. And then this is just going to start pushing down here, in my opinion. If we drop down to H1, and all my markings have gone. Okay, no worries. Is that going to still be there? Yeah, okay, no worries. That probably helps us a little bit, actually. So here we have, again, big low, which price is now kind of testing. And then I think what's going to happen is it's going to drop down, retrace up, probably back to the extreme of this little cluster here. And then we can look on the lower time frames for that. And then this would be the ultimate kind of retrace level. But I don't think, given the way that it's pushed down so quickly, and Bitcoin loves to rip when it goes bearish, I think this is, if you've missed this move, if you've missed shorting up here, you would want to wait for this to kind of be exhausted as a move, retrace up to this kind of level here. So if we drop down to M30, get a few more candles, and then again, I'll just have to mark this. And we can see exactly the same thing. This low has now been completely taken out, and we're looking to the lows even further to the left. But as a range, you can see really, really clean. Fakes the upside in the exact same way that this faked to the upside and is now dropping. So again, just marking this, and it is repetitive, but it'll burn into your brain. That is the level. Drop down, look up for here. And then essentially what I would be looking for, if we drop down to M15, which would be my final time frame, I wouldn't go any lower on this personally. I trade GBP USD intraday. That's enough fucking headaches for anyone. Right, that's the extreme of the level. So what I would expect and what I'm kind of anticipating is some sort of move down, and then it retraces. And then in the same way, which I've talked about ranges and breakouts, I would expect some sideways, maybe another fake out to the upside, drops down. And if I just draw like a range, I'll be looking for a range here on M15. And then when it breaks to the downside of that range, looking to continue to move south. And then obviously the target for that move, if I just get rid of all this shit. The target for that move, you're looking at on an M15 chart, you can get in pretty tight. If you time it really nicely, then you're going to get a really high RR trade. But the target would be down for the bottom of this range. I still think, given the daily time frame picture, it's gonna it's going to fuck around a little bit and then probably comes down low, pushes back up into the middle of the range before dropping back lower. But that's exactly how I'd play it on M15. My personal preference is not to short in these instances because I'm a bull tard and I am still looking for longs. I still think we're going to break the all-time high. I still think everything's going up. But this is all just retrace price action. And because it takes so long, a lot of people get caught up in the fact that it does take so long and get really bearish when it doesn't continue. And I saw loads of tweets when we first hit all-time high last year when it broke above 70K. And it went to like 75 or something. And people were getting super bearish because they're like, oh, it hasn't ripped to all-time high. It's all time to go down. So I think from my own personal kind of style of trading, because I think if you're trading on this time frame, the risk reward to 92K is not great. If you're able to get it intraday or like an intraday level, like I said, on it was M15, wasn't it? Or M30. If you can get in on a retrace, it may go a little bit higher because Bitcoin loves to fuck around and wick them. I think personally, that would be a really good short. It may not be exactly how I've just described it, but roundabouts where it kind of comes up, back up here, goes sideways and then drops. That's kind of what I'm expecting. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that, what you guys think as well. I'm going to run through the chat in a sec just to catch up, but let me just clean up some of this mess. I need to get better with this. But yeah, that picture overall was really nice. And I think, you know, I've been caught out tons of times. If this comes down and then rips back up, this is going to look super bullish. But if this then fails, that is another really nice short. But again, I would only be targeting down here because I think overall what it's going to do is come down either in some way like this and then bottom and then head back up. All right, let's see what everyone's saying. Are we still going to see some resistance here? What are your thoughts? So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts basically on selling and resistance and everything else. Wolf, we're going to 69K, stream in 5 minutes. Excellent pay. XO sent me here, my guy. Do Solana too, please. Okay, I'm going to do Ethereum after this, and then we'll do Solana afterwards. How are you doing? I'm doing well, thank you. It's been a long week, and I've had a lot of family commitments. My trading has not been very like strict over the past few weeks. I've actually had a few weeks off, and I'm looking forward probably next week or the week after to go back all into my trading because I kind of miss it. But the markets have been really slow for me, so I haven't done a huge amount, plus the family stuff. Person count lagging. 118 people here. Cool. Hello, everyone. I'm Matt. Nice to meet you all. That's my target range too. Yeah, cool. 60K. If Bitcoin goes down to 60K, that would be very interesting. I would love it to go down there personally. Bulltard, haven't heard that one for a while yet. I'm bearish due to the conflicts in the Middle East. Fundamentals, essentially. What are your thoughts on the war and its effect on the markets, as well as the lack of interest rate cuts? Yeah, I actually thought that if we were going to get interest rate cuts, we were going to have like a really pronounced bear market on Bitcoin because everyone's going to start moving into legacy markets because it's going to pay more. But in regards to conflicts in the Middle East and all of that, I genuinely have no idea. Like, I genuinely have no idea. I have tried in the past to kind of use it as confluence for trade ideas, and price action is always what I found to be the best. And I kind of see it in the charts of what's going to happen. I mean, obviously you can't predict black swan events, but I would be lying if I said I had any idea. I still think, you know, it's got a huge amount of interest in Bitcoin. I've seen it, and I know you've seen it as well, Wolf. You've been around for a long time as well. We've seen it survive so much. The thing that kind of, when you said that reminded me of, I think it was 2021 or 2020 when there was missiles fired or something. I can't remember even where it was. And Bitcoin tanked. But I think there's so much money in it now that it requires a huge amount to have the kind of big drops and big surges that we're used to seeing back when Bitcoin was below 20K. When it didn't take as much money to move the markets. But I think there's so much money in the markets these days that you're not going to sit there and say 102,000 at the moment on Bitcoin. There's a war breaks out and now suddenly it's going to cut 50% off the price. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I'm purely a price action trader. I have an idea of the news to make sure that I'm in and out around it intraday, but on a like a macro kind of thing, I'd look at the adoption of Bitcoin. I'd look at how many people know of Bitcoin, and a kind of awakening of people that I've seen online saying that meme coins are bullshit, altcoins are bullshit, and more people turn to be Bitcoin maxis, which I've been literally like ever since I got into crypto. So I think it's still just going to go up. Like I said, I'm a bull-tard. I think it's just going to go up. But I do think based on the price action, we can expect like low 90,000s. But yeah, the lack of interest. I was thinking we were going to have interest rate cuts. And as an FX trader, I was really looking forward to some movement on that, because the last time we had so much volatility in the interest rates was about 3 years ago, and it was an absolute dream to trade. But it's been kind of boring so far this year. If we go below 98K, do you think we'll go lower? Yeah, so I would say, it's not my line in the sand per se, but this is a level that really does need to hold. If you're bullish like me, you can see the kind of overall range. If I just delete all of this, this is the kind of overall range that Bitcoin is operating in, and it's at the extremes now. It's at the highs, obviously. This level here at about 92K, I've said it for other reasons, like this is where the buying took place to take out all of this resistance, and where the real buying took place to kind of push us to the upside. Because if we take it back, and we're back in April, and we've had this big drop, and then it's kind of retracing. If it doesn't push above this level here, you're expecting price to kind of come up and then continue south, but it doesn't. It flips that level. And then once it's flipped that level, this is the first level that gets put in after breaking the key resistance. So for me, this has to kind of hold. I do believe like Bitcoin everyone will look at this chart. It's like super clean. It's a really obvious level, but a lot of people will look at it. And Bitcoin loves to fake out those levels and like kind of nuke through them, and then like put in a super big wick to the downside before then like bouncing and catching everyone offside. So I think this level does need to hold for a bullish case. If it comes down and then kind of flips it, I do believe, your next target is 74K, but then you start looking on the weekly time frame what our next big area of support is, and it's kind of down here at like 60Ks. But I don't think we're in for that yet. It could well happen, but based on the price action, one thing I'm relatively confident on is seeing low 90,000s. If it doesn't go down there, that's great, because obviously I'm bull-tard and I have spot holdings that I would like to go up, but this just is another chance to reload. And, if you're a risk taker, if you want to bet something like this is the kind of level, you wouldn't bet your farm on this level if it continues up, in my opinion. I think what happens if it comes up here, if it does, and then it's going to come back down anyway. I always like, before continuations, I like the deepest retrace level to be hit. And this is the deepest retrace level for me. So yeah, if that level goes, it's not looking too hot, but we'll see. Nice analysis. Thank you. If we go below 92K, do you think we'll go lower? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you asked 98K and 92K. Yeah. So that kind of answers that. Please do hype. I don't know if Hype's on here. Is Hype on here? And I'll add it to the list. I'm going to do Ethereum next. Can you give us a scalp trade idea? What city are you from? I am from London originally, but then I moved to the countryside in the east of England, which is where I currently live. Out of the city. Out of this London, that is. Scalp trade idea. Okay, I mean, what do you look at as a scalp? I mean, on M5, it's going to be the similar kind of thing of what I was just saying. I would just be looking for a retrace to the deepest retrace level, which I think would be here. So, I mean, you don't really, after this big trend, you're not going to jump in down here. I'd be looking for that sideways and then some sort of continuation like that. But yeah, like what do you consider as a scalp? For me, a scalp is just like holding a trade for. I mean, I trade M1 as my entry technique on Forex. On Bitcoin, it's M15, so I'm not really a scalper on Bitcoin. But on M1, I would consider a scalp as something you hold for less than 15 minutes. Alts will bleed so much if Bitcoin goes to 92K. Yeah, alts are just destined to bleed. I've lost so much money in them over the years. Hype is on there. Cool. East Midlands. No, East Anglia. It's like the country has like an arse on the right-hand side, and that's kind of where I am. It's called Norwich. Okay, I'll add Hype and Solana after Ethereum. No more alt season. I don't know. I never think there's an alt season. Alts are bleeding even though Bitcoin is pumping. Yeah, I think that there's so much. I think altcoins, majority of them are just kind of dead technology now. It's old tech. They were really big back in the day when crypto wasn't as huge and there were way more barriers to entry in terms of like building a coin. But now you can just open up, just start your own meme coin, can't you? And that's where all the kind of interest and trading volume has gone, and people look to previous cycles for altcoins expecting the exact same thing as previous cycles. To me, it doesn't do that. You'll have coins that a lot of bag holders will hold. People that have made money and sold out of those altcoins will remember them, and they're always good for like another ride at some point. But if you look at the altcoin charts, they kind of mostly, I just move this, they mostly kind of started big and then they come down and then they go up again from like the 2021 cycle. And then I think they're just going to die. Personally, I just think they're going to, because it needs, from a supply and demand perspective, it needs everyone to come on and do that. It needs like the whole of the space essentially to start looking at these things. And I think with meme coins, and how accessible they are these days, I just think altcoins are destined to die. A few of them will remain because they have real world use cases and they have a lot of kind of brand appeal. But in all, I think you're never going to get altcoins in the same way that you had them in 2017 and 2019 and maybe 2021. I think meme coins killed that kind of thing, and that's the next thing. Everyone runs to that, and it's the same with like global money as well. You know, wherever the volatility is, everyone flows from that, which is why I think FX is a bit dead at the moment. Which is why you see like gold has been doing really well over the past year or two. It's the same in crypto. Crypto is like a little microcosm of real world finance, and essentially people get bored of it after a while. They make their money. All the people that get in and create the cartels and all this kind of stuff, they get in, they build the excitement, and then they get out, and then the people that didn't sell end up bag holding and then calling for alt season all the time. But I personally think they've had their race and they are doomed to be a forgotten technology in years to come. So many coins with little liquidity. Hate pump fund. Yeah, exactly. Because anyone can just go and create one. And anyone with a decent following or a group of people that have got a decent following can just pump it. And that's kind of been the play, right? Hello, Moran. How are you, mate? Right, so I'll do Ethereum next, and we'll just jump back to the daily. So the price action is really clean on this. I don't trade Ethereum. I am burned from the days when I had a paid group back in 2019, and I called for the absolute low at about $190. And then it went down to like 188 and then mega reversed. And I didn't buy a fucking bit of it. So yeah, that's kind of, I had my thing with Ethereum. So let's do my analysis with this. So when I start a top-down analysis, I look at the really like obvious places. So in the middle of this chart, we have this low. From this low, we have a retrace. Let me just zoom in. That's a horrible candle. Wow, that's a nasty ass candle. And then it puts in the top of that supply. So what I've marked that from the top of this wick to the open of this big momentum candle. This is like the extreme of the level, but I would say that the actual level itself is this one here, and you can see prices come back to it, right? So we've had a tops out, takes the all-time high, tops out, retraces, double top, and then takes out this support and then flips it and then hits it on the underside really cleanly and then drops. So this is like, it drops down, finds the support, but this here, this little level is the origin of the sell-off, which eventually takes out this big support level. So this is a key level, and as you can see, price is consolidating there. But for the sake of having a clean chart, I like to mark the extremes, and I need to do a video on that because this is where the best risk reward is. If you've got a level like that, right, you've got the whole level, the whole zone, and most people would look to trade it maybe like that. I don't know how clear that is for you guys. But they would put the entry at the bottom of the zone, and then they'd put the stop above it. If you know that price is always going to, if you look into range trading, price is always going to gravitate to the extremes. Either it's going to bounce off one extreme in a strong trend and you're going to miss it. But in an environment like this, where it's going sideways, like crypto is a lot more, it's trading a lot more like the legacy markets. You can see, and I'll just mega zoom this in, from the top of this wick here on this candle, this stupid candle, and then the highest close of resistance, I call it, but it's also just the open of this big candle, the big momentum candle, which tells you, if you just mark that, right, that is the extreme level, MPL we call it, max pain level. You can see it's tested it, and if you put your trade there, you get a much better risk reward versus like coming down all the way here at the bottom of the level and sitting through loads of pain. But yeah, that is a key resistance level. Okay. Now, in the same way that Bitcoin had taken out a key level, what we've got is it tests this support again and then pushes up. That's your resistance. Like if you're coming from down here, you're looking at this as a resistance level, and you're looking at this as a resistance level. If you're bearish, price comes down, consolidates, comes back up, you would expect this resistance level to push us back down, or you would expect the next resistance level to push us back down. But what it's done is it's flipped it, and now it's ranging, and now we have to wait for a breakout. So let me just bring this up here. No, sure, I'm just going to delete it. You will know. So like I said before, if you've got a range sitting on the extreme of a support or resistance, it's a really key level to trade. You're going to get the best reactions from there. So what we've got, bottom of the range, and then we've got the top of the range, okay? So price pushes up, retraces, pushes up again. So you can define your low there and you can define your high of the range. And if we just zoom in, again, I do have videos on my channel about price action trading strategies and how I mark these. So you can check them out afterwards if you're interested. But you can see that it has respected the support by wicking through it so many times. And it's even kind of wicking now. This is a daily time frame, don't forget. Wicks the high as well. Fake push above the high into this resistance. Don't forget this here. I haven't marked it. And it's now pushing back down into the range and hitting the range low. What I would expect here, if it drops, where's my pen? If it drops down and closes down here, I wouldn't short that. I would consider that a signal from the market. What I would wait is for another push back into the range, a lower high. This would be your high, and then this would be your lower high. And then on another break below this range and a close and a lower low, that's when I'd look to short. Otherwise, it could just be giving us, it could trap us, you know, and our momentum is upwards since sort of mid-April. So you'd be looking for longs, but again, like it could push up, come back down, put in a higher low, and then push to the upside. So at the moment, you're looking at this range, and if you're looking long or short, you're just guessing at the moment. You're taking a gamble. You're taking a risk on with not enough information, in my opinion, about what the chart wants to do. This could just wick back up and close well above the range low, back at like 2,500 or something. And in that case, if people were looking like breakout sellers down at the bottom of the range, will get fucked. And you could think that happens. Now, if we look down to H12, same thing. We can see another little level down here, which price is kind of pushed down. So on this time frame, you start to see where the price action gets a little bit more intricate. But again, it's not that clean in terms of a definite direction. You can see like small candles, tight little ranges, and kind of algorithmic selling and candles. So same sort of concept here. Look, you've got this range at about the midpoint of the overall daily time frame range, and you can see it pushes down, retraces, tests the low, so you can define your range, fakes the high of the range, and then drops back down into it, fucks around sideways, tries to push up, and then, wicks, big momentum candle down, takes out all of these lows, and then it follows through. But for me, again, if I'm short, I want to see it come back into this range on this time frame and show that it can't push any higher. Maybe a double top, maybe a fake out, and then takes that low and then look for a short. Or, you know, if it takes out that low and then puts in another high, I would look to go long. But essentially, that's kind of what I'd be looking for on Ethereum. But on the daily time frame, it is really clean, in my opinion. It's going sideways. You don't want to be putting any risk on at the moment on a particular move, because it really can go up or down at the moment, which is a meme. But yeah, it can go up, it can go down, who knows. But we'll wait and see. It could well do exactly what I said on Bitcoin, and come down to the deepest retrace level. So for me, that is kind of here, this little cluster. If I just it could be heading down here, and then this high, sorry, this support level, you can't really see it on it. Oh, you can see it on H4. See, this is a resistance level. I don't know why the price action's kind of not loading. Maybe it doesn't have enough data, but look, you've got the trend up and then it just goes sideways a little bit and then it pushes up. Instead of retracing, you get the buying pressure that pushes up to take out this next high. So that is the origin of the buying. This is, you see all of this price action is being held up by this level on H4. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a fake out of this daily range into this level here at like 2200 before pushing back up into the range. So that's why, again, I wouldn't really be looking for sells off the first push. I'd be looking for a second time back to that level rather than immediately. So yeah, that's how I would avoid early entry, is to answer one of the questions. Most of entries are fake after good price action. Yeah, it just all comes down to extra patience. You see, like what I'm talking about there is you have another range here. And you could probably make a case for where we are at this point looks kind of similar to where we are here. Okay, it kind of fakes the high, comes back down to test the support, and then it rips back up to the high of the range. We could see something similar to that. It could fake out down here and then do the same, and then do. But we just don't know at the moment. We can only look at what it's doing, and what it's doing is going sideways. So yeah, it's a bit of a guessing game. Personally, you know, stay out the markets is my advice. I think it's better to wait until we get like a clear move to the upside or down, and then a confirmation before going to the downside. But it could end up just fucking going sideways for the next 3 months. Who knows? It is, after all, a shitcoin. People do not realize that, or remember that Ethereum is the #1 shitcoin. Right, so someone asked for Solana as well, so I'm going to hit that. And again, let's go to the daily time frame. I actually really like Solana. I think it's a really nice, it was a nice chart when I was looking at trading it last year. Right, again, so I'm going to just basically see what the obvious levels are, and then I'm going to paint the picture and paint the story from there, okay? So this is the high here, and then what happens is you get that cluster on that high, and then it respects it once, tries to push up, drops down below. You see, this is what kind of like it fakes out to the low. This is what I was talking about in Ethereum. It could come down, do this, back into the range, and then push up to like a fake high before nuking down. So what we have is the drop, the fake low down there, retrace, puts in a high here, but it can't break this resistance. This is the sell-off here. This is the origin. I'll just zoom in on that. This is the origin of the selling, which took place to take out this support. So flipping this level should have been key for Solana to push up. But what happens is, as you can see, it does a really clean SR flip. So if I just drag this over, really clean. So pushes up, uses it as support, tries to push up again, and ends up putting in like an overall double top or like a quintuple top, if in the context of this local price action, before dropping down. And then you've got another key level. If I just bring this here, you have this clean level. Again, I'm just marking the extreme of this level. That the entire level is that there. But again, I just like to mark the extremes because that's what I'm most interested in. And we are nowhere near that. But you can see that's where the sell-off started. And then from this sell-off, it takes out this SR flip. It takes out this support, drops down to this fake support. Remember, this is the one after it took out this low, tests it, pushes to a new high. This is a key level because this is where the buying took place to make a all-time high. Then it tests it again. The bounce is less because we're at the second time of this level. There's not as many orders there to push us up. And then it drops. And then we've got, again, same concept. This is where the selling took place to then take out this level. And then on this level, you can see, as I said, remember, if you've got a range sitting at support or sitting at resistance, it's a key level to trade. And as you can see, the range forms, drops down, and on a retest of it, just fucking nukes back down really easily. So if I just mark the extreme of that, because it has been completely taken out, what we then see over here is this is the buying area. This is what is holding everything up, this level here. So we have this downtrend. We have these highs. This high makes this new low. This high makes this new low. And then, as you see, if we mark those highs, it gets engulfed. And then this level here is where the buying took place to take out these highs. If I just mark the extreme again, just to keep it clean, because I think in this instance, the extreme of this level is going to get hit. This support has kind of held up, but one bounce makes a higher high, second bounce makes a lower high, and then on the third test of it, it's just ripping through it. So I expect this level down here about 125 to get tested. And then what I'd be looking at for a bullish case in that point is it needs to come down here, maybe consolidate a bit, and then push up, flip this level before you get bullish, and then take it to whatever highs. But what I think is more likely, because it's a shitcoin and the meme coin kind of frenzy died a little while ago, comes down, takes a level, puts in a lower high, and then drops down. Personally, I think that might happen. But I think this is the next destination. If we drop down to H4, we'll skip H12. Again, what we see is a little bit of a range. It's not that clean. So test the support, higher low to test the support again. Puts in a higher high, but if I just take that out, comes back down, can't flip this little range. And that is your range there. Again, sitting at this support level, this demand zone. So what the market is telling us, and this again looks similar to what we looked at on Bitcoin and Ethereum, you get the trend down into the support, you get a range that forms, fake out to the upside, drops back down into the range, flips the range high, it can't get above it, and now it's starting to push down below the range. This is a signal from the market. If it closes this candle below this low, we have a lower low. I wouldn't trade that low personally. I would wait again for it to come back up, and then if it comes back down and makes another lower low, then I can look, I would look to short it. But again, with this low, with this support a little bit lower, your risk reward isn't going to be that great unless you're expecting it to nuke through and go a lot lower. So I don't really know, but that's kind of how I'd play it. And then again, if you look on the hourly, it would be the same thing. I'd be looking at this level here. Again, if I just mark the range that we had. You can see this supply zone top is in line with this range high from H4. So, okay, this hourly candle was closed below it. This is a nice signal. So what I would expect now is a retrace back into the range, and then you can, you trade it in different ways. I personally wait for a bit of confirmation. So it could come up and then put in another range and then break out, and then that's kind of your signal to go short. So yeah, that's how I'd play Solana. But again, I think the meme coin frenzy is dead, and I think Solana is kind of going to be tossed to the wayside. It's had its heyday. Like I was saying before, a lot of these coins, they make high. Solana did because it was obviously what everyone was buying it, right, for meme coins. overall, I think coins do this, altcoins do this, maybe a little bit lower, and then like that. And I think Solana will probably have one last push up before dropping down. So yeah, I would be bearish on it. I don't see why anyone would be looking to buy it. It's a little bit different from Bitcoin. You know, this is a nice level, and it's kind of a similar type of price action on Bitcoin. But I think that I can't see this holding. I think this is going to, I think you'd be better off selling this. Whereas I said with Ethereum, I don't know whether you sell or buy. It looks more bearish than it looks bullish at present. But Bitcoin is more bullish than bearish. And you can see clearly the difference in the price action compared to Solana. Look, it's made new highs and it's got this level as a continuation level. Whereas on Solana, it's made new lows. It's come back almost like the inverse of Bitcoin. And now it's just going to take out the support, ready to go lower. But yeah, I think you'd have a stronger case for shorting Solana than you would for looking to long it. So yeah, again, going back to the question, what to do to avoid early entry, I would look for a couple of confirmations. I would just look, this is the signal from the market, and then I would look for a retrace higher before looking to sell. Also look Sol Beta JTO. I'm not sure what that is. I'm targeting Sol to 100. Hype will be the next cycle. So yeah, agreed. Also FTX still needs to sell a lot. Good stream, nice clear info, great perspective. Thank you. It's hype on here, yeah. So I just type hype. There we go. And again, I'm just a purely price action trader. I have no idea about the fundamentals of these things. I'm just looking at patterns which I've burned into my brain over the past 10 years. So let's just look again, like really clean and obvious high here, right? And then you've got the origin level here. So again, what happens is you've got this trend up, and then you've got this little support level, which kind of acted as a range. But once price put in the high, it comes down, and then you can see it doesn't really know what it wants to do at support. But basically, what we get is these highs. This is the sell-off, which created these new lows. And then, as I said before, remember, this is support. On this little cluster here, you have a clean cluster at support. These are great areas to trade. This will be a continuation here. But it's a key level because instead of bouncing at support, sellers kicked in at this point and pushed price lower. So on a retest of this level, you would expect it to be pushed back down. However, it doesn't. And you have a series, this high and this high. So again, this sell-off took out the support, and this sell-off created these new lows. Price pushes up, and at this point here, after taking out this, you know, this is your signal from the market. It wants to go higher. Below this level, this is the origin level. This is where the market is telling you the buyers are stepping in, similar to here with sellers. The buyers are stepping in, and this is where the buying took place to come and push to new all-time high. And then here, you've got another support level, similar to this one here at the all-time high. Price pushes up and then bounces off it, puts in a higher high within the context of this local price action, higher low, and then pushes up to make a higher high. And now it's coming back down to retest it. It doesn't look quite so bullish at the moment. But if we drop down to H4, we can see, again, on the break of this high, here is our level. I always like the most extreme level. I think in ICT language, which I do not use, this isn't a fair value gap. I would just look at this as a big momentum, and then the way I learned it, these are price action zones. This is where it's just empty space, basically, and this is the boundary. So everything is kind of reacting from this level. This is the level which is holding everything up. And as you can see, if you came back to this point here I don't know if there's a trade replay tool on here. If there is, I'm not going to test it out on stream. But if price comes up and creates this high, your deepest retrace level is here, and it's come down and respected it really cleanly and bounced from it. But now it's coming back down. So if we just mark these highs out and get a bit more information about what's going on locally, you have this sell-off, which is where it came down to test this low. Price pushes up, and then, okay, I've marked the absolute extreme of it, but it's kind of tested it nicely and then come back down. On a second test of it, it flips it. And then we have another cluster, another support zone on the bottom there. Price pushes up, retraces back down to it. Very similar, like this level here is very similar to this level here, right? So he pushes up, makes a new high, and then retests the level that formed the push up, pushes up, retests that level, and then makes a new high. However, it then gets broken. And once again, to sound repetitive, we have a range that is sitting on the support level. All right. So once this gets broken, that's the extreme of the supply zone. That is where I'd be looking to get bullish again. Like if it breaks that, then I'll be looking like to think this is bullish. But it is kind of scrappy. It's all kind of jagged, if you see what I mean. Like it's got a relatively nasty channel where it's just zigzagging down. So I do think it's going to come down and test this level again. But if you're on a hourly time frame, and again, this is the level, and I'll just mark that quickly. So that was the previous high, and this was where the buying took place to break that high. Now, yeah, it's not that clean, although we do have a little bit of a range that has formed there. And again, what happens is comes down, tests the range high, tests the range low, lower high, lower low, tests the range high but can't get above it, and then nukes down. So this would have been your signal that it wants to go lower. In this instance, it's continued a lot quicker, but I would be personally, if I'm trading this on H1, I'd be waiting for it to come back into this range, and then either fake the high, comes back down, and then you could take a sell, something like that. Or, you know, my personal preference to trading these things is come up, wait for another little range at the extreme, and then once that range gets broken, you take your short. Something like that. Personally, I think a lot of these coins and stuff are heading lower, simply because I think the market is fatigued. I think a lot of people lost a lot of money last year, and just got really fed up with the whole meme thing, the whole meme coin thing. But I think looking at this, it's not that great. I think it's going to come down here. This 24 level is similar to Bitcoin, in my opinion. You see, it's got this key level down here that Bitcoin wants to come down to, in my opinion. I think hype is the same. I think hype will come down here in a really, really similar way. So yeah, that's that. We've been streaming for nearly an hour. Do you guys have any questions on like my style of trading or anything else you want me to quickly chart? Not as much detail as the previous ones, or just any general questions or whatever, then let me know. The exchange, What's Exchange, you can sign up to them. There's a link in the description to use my ref link, and you can use the code TraderMatt when you sign up. That'll help me out. And then just farm points as well. There's going to be a huge airdrop next year, early next year, same as Hyperliquid. So the more volume you're going to do on the exchange, the more points you're going to get, and the bigger your airdrop's going to be. And personally, I think this is a really clean This is why I've partnered with Watt. I think it's a really clean platform. I think it's really simple to use. I think it's really nice to look at as well, but it's not confusing. You can, it's non-KYC as well, which is a huge appeal. You can just connect one of your Phantom wallets or Rabby wallet or whatever. I've connected my Phantom wallet, and you can just go straight away. It's really, really nice. Where should we long ETH? I did talk about that, but again, on this time frame, on this time frame on H4, I think it's coming down to 2,200. It'll probably spike it and then maybe push up, but I'm not sure whether it's going to come up again. I think it should have gone up now rather than putting in this red candle. I think it should have pushed up. This was a nice signal. Turns out to be a fake out into this cluster here. So I'm not really sure about long and ETH, to be honest. I don't know even about shorting it. I think it can do this. I don't think it's a good thing to trade at the moment, but I do think you could probably get some lower time frame shorts on it down to that 2,200 level. Do you use moon cycles when looking for trades? No, I do not. No, I do not. And if there's any girls that you speak to that talk about moon cycles and astrology, run away. That's from experience. What are good alts according to you? I do not really trade alts. Like I said earlier on in the stream, I think they've had their heyday. I don't think that it's good to learn. Good to put your money into them. I think the cycle is coming to an end. I think like the whole bull cycle from the past few years. I think Bitcoin is going to top out soon. I think it's got one more push up. I don't know where to. I'd just be absolutely guessing, but I think it's going to come down to 92K-ish and then push up. So I don't really think alts are great at the moment. I think you should have been looking at them 2 years ago. Sorry. Just curious, not disrespecting and respect your peer, why you do YouTube promo exchange partnership when you have an edge, more capital, or just a hobby? Yeah, good question, mate. I love trading. I have a huge passion for it and I can make money from it consistently. But I love money. So I got into YouTube and I got into social media to firstly, and there's actually a video on my channel you can go back and look at. It's the last video explaining this a little bit more. But I got into social media to kind of share my knowledge. I love talking about it, meeting new people, and to monetize in some way. It's always good to have extra sources of income, but I want to do it in a way where I'm not selling anything. So it's completely up to you. If you jump on the affiliate link and start trading with Watt, I think you should. It will help me out. But I'm not pushing for it. But I do think, the more I do this, I think you'll probably be more inclined to jump onto it. I've gone down the paid group route before. Back in 2018, myself, Trader Main, and Tyler Durden used to run a trade group called Bitcoin Trade Group. And it was very good, but I don't really want to get back into that model again. It was very stressful and took too much time away from my trading. So this allows me to work around my trading essentially and bring in some more money. I have a young family, I have a baby who's just turned 10 months old, and the more income, the better, basically. Mr. Start Matt will watch back this evening. Thanks. Cheers, Richard. Yeah, it's been a good stream. Enjoyed it. Subscribe. Looking forward for more content. Cheers, John Doe. Crypto wants. I'm in crypto from 69K top like November 22. Still not profitable. I think it pays people to learn to trade more than it does invest these days. But stick around, bro. We'll teach you how to read the charts a little bit more intricately. I've got a very nuanced style of trading, and even though you'll see people with these levels anyway, everyone kind of has their different methods to get into them. I have absolutely obsessed over price action for the past 10 years that I've been trading. So yeah, that's cool. Let's wrap it up there. Thank you very much for joining. I hope you have found value out of this, and sign up to Watt. The link is in the description, and Yeah, when you find your levels on higher time frame, do you drop down to 5 minute or 1 minute to execute? Daily time frame is just kind of getting the idea of the overall trend, and then I'll look at like the hourly time frame to get kind of a medium time frame trend, so I know what I'm doing. And then intraday, I just look at M5 with bias in mind from the higher time frame. So like Bitcoin, for example, at the moment I'd be looking on lower time frames for sells because I think it's putting a bit of a double top and it's going to go lower. So I'd use M5 intraday, and then once, so if I've got a level, let's say, well, I'll just show you, it'll be quicker. Oops, I always do that. If I have a level like this on M5, right? This is M5. I will look for price to come as deep into that level as possible. And then I'd switch to M1. Let me just mark that level again. I would switch to M1, prices like come back up here. And then I would look for the similar type of price action, kind of the fractal price action. And then I'd look for my, my trade like that on M1 essentially. When you find it, very insightful stream so far. Appreciate if this actually becomes a routine. Cheers, man. Yeah, I'm going to be doing this every Monday, basically. I'm going to do a quick 10-15 minute video every Monday morning, giving a trade plan for Bitcoin and Ethereum on the daily, so from the daily chart down to M15, and giving kind of a plan for the day. And then in the evening at this time, I'll be doing a live stream to talk about that, and then we can go through some stuff, do some questions and answers and all that again. Everyone, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification. Indeed. Thank you, Crypto Wonks. Twitter is Trader Matt. Matt has an M4TT because MATT was taken. Cheers. All right, guys. Not daily streams. No, it's too much. Unless you all sign up to Watt, and then I'm getting loads of affiliate commissions, then I'll do it daily. But yeah, for now, it's going to be every Monday. Look for the video in the morning. It'll be about 8:30 UK time, a trade plan for the day, and then 6 p.m. in the evening where we will discuss the trade plan and any other price action and any other questions, okay? Cheers, guys. Love from India, dude. Nice one. Cheers, guys. Take care. Thank you very much. All the best, and have a good weekend.